Come and knock on our door.
Come and knock on our door.
We've been waiting for you.
We've been waiting for you.
Where the kisses are hers and his. Three's company too. Come and dance on our floor.
Come and dance on our floor.
Take a step that is new.
Take a step that is new.
We've a lovable space that needs your face. Three's company too. You'll see that life is a ball again. Laughter is calling for you. Down at our rendezvous.
Down at our rendezvous.
Three's company too.
Hello, everyone. This is Ed Ippolito. I was the director of It's Only a Play, and welcome to Cocktails with the cast of It's Only a Play.
Everyone
Yay! Yay! So,
Yay!
anyway, it's wonderful to see you all here. How is everyone doing?
Fabulous.
Fabulous.
Fantastico.
So we're here tonight to talk about the experiences that we had during It's Only a Play. So I just want to say how much fun it was having you all. It really was a tremendous show. It was wonderful to work with all of you and get to have that nice little world with all of you. Jeff, I'm still wearing parts of your costume. So
yeah, I know. You can't help yourself.
I really can. It's just too fabulous. So thank you, Armando. Let's he put a little bit of fabulousness into the costume. So there you go. So anyway, so anybody have thoughts? Let's just start with auditions. Anybody have any fond memories of auditions?
I was so excited to see people I knew. And that was the first time I saw you act, Jeff. No, I saw you in that other thing where, I was Ed's mom. But, act in a different, context.
I was also very excited. I had the same sort of feeling because auditions drew a lot of people who have done a lot of shows, and it was super intimidating for me because I was surrounded with people who have done a lot of funny a lot of times. And I think I'm funny, but my wife doesn't, so it's tough. I was super intimidated, but I was definitely. I do remember having a lot of fun at auditions because everyone was so on it all the time.
It was a lot of fun, but what I remember the most is once we got past the first set of auditions, and I think it was in callbacks, I don't remember, it was such a long time ago, and we were doing the cold readings and we were handed pieces of the script. I remember standing up there with you guys, or part of you guys, I don't even remember who was up there, and being given that god-awful 4-page monologue by the director and saying, let's see what you can do with this. And just reading it and reading it and reading it and going, when in the goodness of everything that's good is this going to end?
Thinking maybe I don't want to audition for the show.
I'm thinking, who the hell memorizes this stuff?
I remember the auditions being, to echo Jeff, the number of people that were there, and thinking, wow, this can go so many different ways. This is amazing. Because it really puts you on your toes when you start realizing there are a lot of options up there.
Oh, yeah.
I remember doing a monologue that came from no play, but was an original piece of work. And it was about the 3 greatest theories ever. And one was the Big Bang Theory, the one was Einstein's theory, and the last one was the peanut butter theory of virginity. And as it was going on, the Denise, who was there with Ed, said, you don't have to wait for, you don't have to let him continue. And Ed said, I found out later, I want to find out what the peanut butter theory of virginity is. Let it go.
Yeah, I literally she leaned over to me very nonchalantly and said, you don't have to let him finish. I said, yeah, I know, but I want to hear the end of it.
I'm curious.
It was very funny all the way around. It was, but getting right into that moment when we had all of you finally up there, and we went with the iteration that ultimately became the cast. It was really nice because when we finally saw you guys up there, we kind of went, okay, that's it. You know, it just kind of clicked, and it was like, yeah, that's something that we could really have fun with. That's a group of people that could really create something special, and it goes beyond individual talent and just finding the right chemistry between everybody.
I think we definitely had chemistry in this.
Oh
game.
yeah.
Oh,
Somewhere between chemistry and alchemy. It was really a lot of fun. But like how everybody had something. It was a very organic process, and I really enjoyed watching everybody kind of make something their own. And not anything that you would think like, okay, this is my monologue, I'm going to do this thing. Michael, there were so many things when you had the stage to yourself. You were the only one that never left the stage. Right. You were on stage the entire time.
He wore a diaper.
I was just first in line for the bathroom at intermission.
Yeah. Some nights he did, some nights he didn't. Depends.
Yes, that's what he wore. Depends.
But it was wonderful watching you have conversations with no one on the other end of a phone. So
thank you.
Yeah. And still manage to get laughs out of that. React, because I think you all heard me say, this is pretend, don't act, react. And it was great watching you react to something that actually wasn't even happening except in your head. So I would have loved to have heard the other half of the conversation happening in your head.
Which gives you a small idea of what happens in my head.
I loved the swing. When we finally started improvising, how did it feel to be on stage by yourself with disco lights, Marvin Gaye sex music, and a swing that had
probably like a regular Thursday night at Mike's house.
When you told me that there would be the swing, that we were keeping the swing for the previous show, I was all at Twitter. I was like, yes, a proper prop. And I started thinking about what I would do with it and how much fun I could make it for the audience. And as you know, the falling off of the swing happened opening night.
Yep.
Because I was in the moment and it's like, I need to fall off of this now. So I did. I had a blast. That's probably, props to the rest of my cast here. I had a marvelous time with you on stage. But that moment in the show with the disco ball and the swing was probably one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Michael, you never saw it because you were always on stage.
Oh.
But the entire cast, we had the monitor backstage. Mm-hmm. The entire cast would be gathered around that monitor every night at your disco swing scene just to see what was going to happen that night.
That joke, that visual gag was right on the heels of the reveal of Carolyn's industrial strength massager.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not mine.
No.
Carolyn's, it was mine.
No,
I'm sorry, not Carolyn. Sorry, right on the heels of Liz's industrial strength massager in your nightstand.
It was Julia's.
That's right, Julia. Julia. Wait, is it Booter or Butter?
Butter. It's butter.
This is Booter.
Booter. Whatever.
It was, well, your name is Butter. He called you Booter.
Yeah. And it was the little things like that made it really fun watching us all kind of
Well, and
work
the whole
through
idea of putting the power sander in the drawer
Yes.
and not actually pulling the personal toy out of the drawer so the audience could just imagine what was going on in there.
Yes.
That was so much fun.
Yes.
Well, I think one of the pluses of this show and this cast and everything was not that we knew exactly what was going to happen, like these gags with the sander and the swing and whatever else. We got to a point, I think all of us did, where we were trying to entertain each other and
Yes.
entertain ourselves every night. So every night there was a slight variation
Yep.
just to see what was going to happen around us.
That's right. That's right.
And I think that's what kind of really works because it was never the same show twice.
Yes.
I'll tell you, from a personal perspective, I guess everybody and every character has their own favorite parts of the show and whatever they do and whatever else. My favorite part every night that I looked forward to, even when I was on stage, was the massive argument that I was going to have with Michael coming up
Yes.
on stage, because it was just
Yep.
fun. And it was, all right, let's take this up a notch now. And God bless you, Michael. I got to tell you, you are the most fun person in the entire world to argue with. Because you don't take it, you give it back, which makes it even more
Well,
fun.
it was my character. Wasn't going to take it. I was going to give it right on back to you. But the fun thing is watching you try to one-up yourself each night. In the argument, it's like, oh, he's going to take it there. Okay, fine.
Well, to be fair, it wasn't me trying to one-up myself, it was me trying to mess with you.
Yeah, well, okay.
Oh no, please.
Thankfully it worked.
It was so easy to hold it together with those arguments, but what was not easy to hold together was all of us being on stage and Jeff's puppet show.
Thing is done. I was supposed to collapse. And I remember specifically that I collapsed in the wrong spot and fell off the bed. And I was supposed to just fall like forward, I think, and I ended up nearly rolling onto the box at the front of the bed and almost onto the stage. It was
I remember that night.
yeah, that was
Oh my
that was
God.
actually incredibly painful. So I appreciate that Carolyn was right there and I could pretend I was wounded afterwards because I was.
Oh,
But
that was
The puppet
I-
show was a brilliant piece of ad lib, and as the others mentioned, trying to keep a straight face during that and just watch you matter of factly, because my job was to turn the TV or the lights or whatever was going on off and not be laughing was torture. Delightful torture.
Yeah, I never really truly remembered which direction I was supposed to run in first. And also, I never really remembered which puppet would be in which pocket. So one night I reached in and I felt hair and I was like, well, that's not the one I need to start with. So that was always a little bit crazy. But honestly, I have been sitting here for the last 10 minutes trying to figure out, now don't tell me, the name of my character. Don't tell me. I have not been able to come up with it, but I have come up with Chad Velveteen, Bert Talkbody, and Winslow British. And I know that one of them is right, but I can't remember which one.
How about Sir?
Finger! Oh my gosh, it was Frank Finger.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you go like this.
Oh, I have been struggling with it. Like on the replay of this video, you'll see me like rolling my eyes up and like I've been dying to figure out what my name was. Thank you. I'm sorry about that.
By the way, Ed, I wanted to both thank you and compliment you on the amazing direction, not only for the entire show,
Oh, you will.
but the how shall
Waiting
we
for
put
it.
it?
Waiting for it. Waiting for it.
The prayer scene.
Yes.
reaching over and making sure that Carolyn was right there in hand at all times.
Oh, this is an actual thank you. You're welcome.
Wait. He made sure that my boobs were in your way? He did that?
You know,
I had nothing to do with it.
no, Carolyn, he made it very clear that blocking was not optional. You had to be there.
And they were.
Let her just talk.
Always.
But let's give credit where credit is due. Bill, having the prayer shawl and the yarmulke
Yep.
as the yarmulke as a pocket square. First of all,
That was great.
that was wonderful. And then Jeff stealing it. As the comedic dominoes just fell.
And the worst part about that whole thing, I never got to see any of it.
Wow.
Me too.
On the
We never
video.
got to see that.
Guys, that's the whole point. You're not supposed to see me stealing it.
Yeah, I know, and I hear the audience laughing hysterically, and I don't know what the hell they're laughing at.
Right.
And
I do
Jeff,
have to say, as somebody who had to be ridiculous through the entire show, I really do appreciate the very different but very respectable ricochet boards that I had from Liz and Carolyn, because Liz was always playing it very straight. Like,
Yeah.
she believes everything that's going on is completely normal. And then Carolyn on the other side of it is like bonkers. Working with you two guys was absolutely amazing because of that. I knew that whatever reaction I needed to get, one of you was already 2 steps ahead of me and ready to deliver. And I really appreciate that from the both of you.
Really good. Thank you, New York Post. Tough, I'm the goal I wanted. I hate it. God, who does he think he is? My father? Good boy. Bad boy. Why don't you go out and play with your mates with rugby instead of the big puppets? But I love the puppets, Daddy. Guess I think your little toy theatre. Gah, 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 gah. I think you're better than your old man, don't you? I don't, Daddy. Oh, going off to Oxford to read literature when your old man can't even read his own name. I don't. He can't even read his own name. Oh, I know. Biggest mistake of the entire life is taking you to that bloody Christmas panto. I want to be Peter Pan, Daddy. I want to fly. I'll teach you to fly, you little lump of nothing. Run, boy! Alright, that was great. I feel great. Look, I've got an appointment with Mildred tomorrow, so why don't you take these things? I don't need them anymore.
My gym membership. My gun. My yarmulke. My preludes.
A meatball hero.
I just remember the part when we find out when we were on our knees, forgetting the pain for a little bit. 'Cause constantly. But then when Roman was saying the line about how you were taking things and whatever, and that was all coming out, and I remember just standing there because I was wearing all those jewels that thankfully they were coming from Vanessa, who contributed some of my jewelry and my costumes, which was great. But I remember just thinking, oh my God, somebody stole something and I just did this. Like, do I have everything? did he steal from me? And it worked. I mean, that was the riffing that was fun.
Yeah.
You could just kind of tweak it every night and do a little something different.
Well, yeah, and I remember that we were at the point where we were comfortable with our characters within 4 rehearsals. That we all sort of knew what to expect from each other, and we were ready to start riffing
right
when we were off book, rather than having to get off book and then figure out how we were comfortable.
Because we used my cell phone for the selfie at at every show that we did as part of the gag, we actually took a picture of each show, and I have a selfie from each and every one of our shows that we did, and it's
Oh gosh.
camera.
You should share those with us.
I
I
really
still have
should.
pictures
Because
of
each one
James
them is
Franco
slightly
on my
different.
phone.
I just got rid of them. Just
I
got
too
rid
have
of the
pictures.
naked selfies.
That was hysterical. That was hysterical.
We should let everyone know. Okay, so there was a line in the show that it
Who
was.
is James Franco?
And why is he
Why
sexting?
is
he
he sexting me?
sexting?
Why is he sexting me? Right.
So
And I said, James Franco sexts everyone.
and the funny thing was, I had pictures of James Franco that looked like sexting pictures that I would send to people.
I had pictures of James Franco that
Yeah.
was like pictures, but you wouldn't use them.
I just looked it up.
Yeah, they were right there on Google. They were selfies he took. He had taken some selfies. I found some selfies of James Franco, and I would send them to people during rehearsal. So, the first time it happened, it was so surreal watching them going, "Who's James Franco, and why is he sexting me?" One thing while we're talking about realism, and there's things that are acting and things that are reacting, and then there's complete and utter fantasy. Bill, you have never partaken of the wacky tobacco ever in your life. But
Correct.
in Act 2, can I just say, it was a pleasure to watch you method act. Well, not quite method act. It was a pleasure watching you inhabit that level of inebriation and stonerness that was just a joy to watch. Because Roman, that was while you were going on and on and on and on, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was, and I never saw it, but the audience reaction obviously told me what Bill was doing. And then when I was being told what he was doing, and I saw little bits and pieces here and there, I have to be honest, Bill, I thought to myself, that's kind of like he always is.
But the aha moment that happened because there were the dog treats on stage.
That was great.
Also played by Einstein DeLelo. Thank you, Einstein. Good boy. The dog treats that were on stage the whole time. And we had lots of different discussions about what type of dog treats they would be, just in case somebody wanted to eat them. And Bill, I was so happy that aha moment that went, well, he's stoned, and now he's got the munchies, and oh my God, he's eating the dog treats. That aha moment
That was great.
was pure nirvana.
That one,
It was great. It was great fun that I was given license by Ed to do something, because my impression of my role in the second act, that I was a human potted plant a lot of the show, and I said, how do I stay engaged, because the audience notices when we're not interested in doing it. And the fun part of being in the middle of you two and being stoned was, although I've never taken part myself, I lived on a college dorm floor that was like an agricultural center for that. And I saw a lot of people's reaction, under that influence. And to be able to play with those two guys while sitting in the chair and then stumble, slouching, up, down, and whatnot, was just so much fun. And of course, both Roman and Michael were at such an intensity level that just kind of acting like I was watching a prize fight.
There are just a couple more moments that I just want to touch on. Liz, I just absolutely adored every night. Sometimes it's the little things that just kind of stick out in memory. I giggled every time you said Schuberts. Schuberts. Who are the Schuberts?
Yeah.
Who are the Schuberts? Because
that was the phone call.
yeah. I'll tell you something, Mr. Schubert. If your name's not Schubert, then okay. It was just hysterical every single night. And on the flip side of that, because this was a play within a play, and how I described this show in the director's notes was that this is what happens at the cast party to those people that are, if you've ever been in a show or you've ever been part of a show or you've had friends in a show, there's always, after that opening night, there's always a cast party. And at that cast party, things happen. Usually in a side room that no one knows about, there are things that happen. This is the story of what's happening at one of those cast parties.
Gus, most honorable servant Gus, who is only taking down Lady Gaga's coat. Bless Lady Gaga. Bless all those people down there whose happiness and approval means so much to me. And finally, O Lord, bless Julia's cell phone with a special ringtone with the New York Times review 30 minutes before anyone else. Bless this review.
Amen.
Amen. Lord, in our hour of greatest need, give us just one more. No. You have given me the greatest gift of all, the gift to realize that no matter what happens tonight, it's only a play.
With the opening of the golden egg at the Barrymore tonight, I can't.
Virginia! Frank! I'll read it. I'm the only objective one here. He's right. Well, I'm reading. Out loud!
When you had that, I don't want to call it a diva moment because it wasn't. It was a very honest moment in the spotlight on stage, saying something. It was, Roman, what was it? It was could, then would. The would allows the could.
What allows for the could, with just the slightest inflection.
But we
That
actually
may have truly been one of the only like sincere moments of the show that isn't like clouded by comedy. That whole moment where Carolyn actually got to that moment is probably the only moment where someone is allowed to perform within the boundary of their talent and be impressive without being bookended by a pratfall or a sly insult or something like that. It probably is the only true complimentary and honest moment in the entire show.
Yeah.
There's another moment. What?
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mary. Go
No, I
ahead.
was going to say there was one other moment that for me, like I almost cried every single night, and it was when Roman was talking to his father on the phone.
Oh my God, yes.
Oh my
Can't
God.
forget about that moment.
I mean, that was to me just. He's a grown man, and all you want to do is please your parents, and you're like bending the truth just because you don't want to let your folks down. And that, I mean, I felt that.
But I have to say, I do believe that Julia was sincerely stupid about theater. Like I
Entirely possible.
were.
Totally.
She- Yeah, about theater and all the stupid things that she said. It was.
Well, I think that Julia just wanted to be a somebody, and whatever that took to be a somebody, she was going to do, even though she didn't understand what the hell was going on.
Right. But I think she was sincere in that moment. Like it
Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't like she was trying to manipulate or anything. It was more, she was just stupid about theater.
Yes.
I remember Ed and I having this discussion. He thought she wasn't really stupid. It was just in that world she was stupid.
The only reason I didn't drop out of the show is I could snack during the.
Yeah, like,
But you were trying to fatten us all up with all your.
Oh my God!
Oh my
Listen.
That was so wrong. I mean, you have to cover this, Ed. You know, the whole rehearsal process when you're doing theater and how people, obviously we're all trying to keep ourselves looking good, for the stage, but also being fed, during the rehearsal process. And someone used to come in every night with some kind of delectable, delicious,
Homemade
thing. Yes, homemade.
yeah, and God forbid you feed the actors carrots, celery, or anything healthy. No.
Oh, no.
It's
Cake.
only the stuff that will make their costume not fit by opening
He
night.
was considerate. He did nuts and non-nuts. He was very thoughtful.
He was.
Right. But he was honest. I'll give you that much, Billy. You were honest.
He was.
He's saying, I'm trying to fatten you all up to look like ticks.
Engorged.
Make you better.
Engorged ticks, yes.
It was great fun making those treats and the nuts and non-ones because we had a couple of people with nut allergies, so we had to make them Unix. with no nuts.
Yes.
when the one night I brought in the chocolate cake and Ed fell in love with it and then wanted it for his birthday, I went, it couldn't be snickerdoodles. It had to be the most difficult thing to make.
Well, if
there was one thing we learned from the rehearsal process, it's that Ed always wants the most difficult thing he can.
Yes, this is true.
I mean, there are some shows that are out there that you say, boy, this was fun, but you know, all things in their time. I'm glad I had this experience and now it's over. And then there's other shows.
I want this show to go on for another 2 or 3 weekends, personally.
Oh yeah.
That should get done.
It's true. He calls me up every Thursday and he says, "What are you doing?" I say, "Michael, you gotta stop calling."
Well, everyone, it has been wonderful spending this time with you. This has been fantastic.
Thank you all so much.
Yeah, you guys.
I actually genuinely miss all of you guys so much. You have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
It was
But
really
thank
fun.
you.
It was really fun seeing all of you and hearing all your voices.
Find another show with this many people in.
Sure. Well, look, if community can do a live table reading via Zoom, then hey, we could all get our scripts out and.
Hey, listen, I'm looking at this string of people right here, this cast, and I'm seeing the perfect cast for Noises Off.
Everyone, it's been a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Everyone out there,
Thank you, everyone.
please be safe, be healthy, and
Wear a mask.
take care.
Come and knock on our door.
Come and knock on our door.
We've been waiting for you.
We've been waiting for you.
Where the kisses are hers and his, three's company too. Come and dance on our floor.
Come and dance on our floor.
Take a step that is new.
Take a step that is